Howdy folks, I'm out here behind Park Royal Shopping Centre on the little trail, the walking trail that goes through here. That's Stanley Park over there, the Lionsgate Bridge, and then the train bridge over Capilano River, which is what runs behind me here. Anyway, today I want to talk about, we've been in Canada for almost 2 years. We're going on to 23 months now. In January 20th it will be 2 years. And oftentimes I put out videos and there's people that like Canada and people that don't like Canada, and so many different opinions around the whole thing. And I was thinking, what's our thoughts? I mean, the honeymoon period is over. There's always a honeymoon period when you move to a new place. There's always this like, okay, everything is awesome. And then, when you're there for a while, you start finding things that are maybe not that awesome. So I thought what I'll do today is I'll just make a video where I just talk about it and how we feel and what we think about our move so far to Canada, and things that I think is awesome and things that we still think is awesome and things that, is a little harder. Anyway, so it might be a long video, bear with me. So firstly, I think the most important question here, are we still happy that we moved here? And the answer there is a resounding yes. More so from Belinda's side. I mean, Belinda is definitely very happy that we moved here. Me, sometimes I used to be an operator in South Africa. I knew how everything worked. It was easy enough for me to do my taxes. It was easy enough for me to take care of everything. I didn't have to learn everything anew. I know how Africa works, which was great, and I can't say the same for Canada. I need to learn about Canada. Anyway, so but altogether I think still a resounding yes. Angelique and Connor, they're also very happy here. Well, I guess Connor will be happy anywhere in the world. He just, he just hangs out with his computer and everything. But they're happy. Angelique's very happy. She loves it here, literally, because she just has so much freedom and she can go wherever she wants, and she's got friends and she's got this life that she's built here, which is great. She's still learning to ice skate, but hopefully she'll get that at some stage. Anyway, so the answer to are we still happy that we moved here? Resounding yes. And the reasons for it, I guess mostly, well, like I've said in so many videos before, security and safety. Even though we had that guy that stole the bicycle, and even though there are lots of incidents in Canada, I mean, here in Vancouver, there are often incidents on the buses of harassment, and there's some really strange characters around. I mean, in a society that's more liberal and more tolerant, like I believe the whole world is these days, or the whole Western world is becoming, it comes with the situation that you got to tolerate people with mental health issues and tolerate people with other issues. And I guess on the one hand, that's the one thing that's not so awesome, but still, in the overall scope of things, I guess it's still great. You got to live with it. You got to, nothing nowhere is ever perfect. And what I'm talking about here, specifically on the buses, you've got, there's some really strange people on the buses that get there and they freak people out a little bit. And it's not a general thing. It happens occasionally, and obviously you see more of it in the news. I guess in South Africa, that doesn't even make the news if weird things happen. But yeah, the bottom line is security. We feel safe, which is a lot more than we can say for South Africa. In South Africa, we never felt safe. In South Africa, we never felt that we could leave our kids walk around and enjoy and be who they are, and that freedom, we just don't have it. And some people say it's a mindset, and yes, it could definitely be a mindset. But I guess we all have to deal with whatever biases we have. I mean, the reality is that there's a lot more crime and a lot more violent crime in South Africa than there is in Canada. And stuff can happen to you anywhere in the world, yes, granted, but we feel safe here. The next thing that is definitely a boon for us, or a benefit for us, is Opportunities, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for our kids going forward. For ourselves, maybe not so much. We are older, but we also, I guess, the reality is that you are older, but also you can, if you end up working at a retail store as a teller or something, you can still survive. So it's not great. I mean, it's what's happening in the world right now with inflation going up, and I believe there's a depression coming, a serious one, or recession, depression, whatever you want to call it. I think things are going to hurt in the next couple of years, and I'm glad that I'm here. Sometimes I sit and I go, shit, I wish I was back in South Africa, because there I might know how to handle it better. But then I speak to people there, and it's like, well, we've got power cuts 3 times a day with the rolling blackouts. We've got water cuts. We've got this. We've got that going on. I don't think anywhere in the world things are looking super rosy at the moment. And if I have to be somewhere, I feel like Canada is a good place to be, where you can be looked after by the government and the other people. I mean, the Canadian people are very generous, I must say. I'm listening to all of the charities and everything going on here. People are very generous over here. So anyway, yeah, so sorry. Thinking this is just me talking, so there's no script or anything. So yeah, I think opportunities are definitely a big thing. Here the kids can go out and they can go do what they want. I would have loved for my kids to go study and do stuff, but Connor wants to just become he wants to do a trade, because he believes that that's where the future lies, in electricity or plumbing and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But the reality is that over here, they can go and study, maybe not at one of the main universities. They can go and study, they can find a job, they can find a trade, and there's still enough work available, which is something that in South Africa doesn't ring that true. You don't know if there's enough work available. In South Africa, there's a lot of people without jobs, and there's a lot of people without work. So it's, it's access to the Western world and to the new tech and everything that's going on here, I think would be a benefit. This third thing on my list is, what was it? Sorry. So the third thing on my list is also the ability to go to other places. If you've got a Canadian passport, which is what we're working towards, we want to get to the point where our kids we are Canadian citizens, and we've got dual Canadian South African citizenship, because with those two we could literally go anywhere in the world. I mean, if my kids, the world is becoming a smaller place. It really is. So if they want to go live in Europe, or they want to go live in the US, and they want to go live in the States, it's just so much easier to get there if you're a Canadian citizen than if you're a South African citizen. It is what it is. And if you do want to go back to South Africa, you still got your South African citizenship or your South African passport. You can still go back into Africa using your South African passport. So I think freedom of movement is a very important thing that we want to make sure that our kids have. Something that we didn't have. We, with our South African passports, had to take a very long roundabout route to actually get here. And then, of course, there's also the things that are maybe not as awesome. Definitely, and I've said it before, one of the things that's not as awesome is obviously the cost of living. It is very expensive. Housing and everything here is very expensive. I am concerned that at some stage the currencies and the economies in the West, especially in the next 2 to 3 years, things are going to be tougher, and you don't know when that's going to collapse or when that's going to change. But yeah, it is, cost of living is expensive. And of course, I think one of the biggest drawbacks apart from all the work that we, you know, all the worrying and admin and everything else, is the fact that when you move here at our age, you literally start over. You know, when you come through as a youngster and you haven't built up anything back in South Africa yet, you come here and you start your life and you can build everything up, which is hopefully what our kids will have. For us at this stage, we had our lives built up in South Africa. We had a bigger house, we had a business, we had all of those things that we let go. Granted, we let go a little bit earlier, and there was a number of reasons for it, but yeah, we didn't let go of our business to move to Canada. It was just, we decided that we wanted to leave South Africa. But anyway, the long story short is, everything we have to start over, because unfortunately that riches that you built up in South Africa doesn't translate to riches in Canada. It's just not. You know, your 10 million rand or 5 million rand, or what do we have, about 3 million rand in South Africa, when you arrive here is like not even enough to buy a 1-bedroom apartment in Vancouver. So it's you know, it makes a big difference. I was just my friend partner, he got some money from his dad and he's looking at buying a property. He's a US citizen, and he's actually going back to South Africa to buy a property, because the reality is that you can just get so much more there for your dollar than you can over here. So yes, we have to start over. We have to start over on ground level. Belinda had to start working as a sales administrator. You know, yes, I've got my company, or we've got the company publishing, and that is looking okay, but yeah, we don't have property, we don't have anything like that, and it's going to be a long, hard slog to actually get that put together. It's just, it is what it is, whether, you know, you like it or not. It's one of the sacrifices that we have to make. You know, I was speaking to a financial consultant the other day, and I've never worried about this stuff. You know, I've always been like, nah, you know, I'm young, I'm energetic, I can do stuff, I can land anywhere and I'll land on my feet and I'll make things happen. I really am not scared. So I've never really focused on long-term planning, purely also because I think oftentimes, you know, you look at those numbers these financial consultants put in front of you and they go, hey, yeah, in 30 years time you're going to have $1 million. And I'm like, yeah, what's $1 million going to be worth in 30 years time? Anyway, I'm digressing off the point here. Oh, we got one of the little helicopters flying around.13 so the point I'm trying to make is, I am realizing that, you know, I'm 52. I've got 13 years of work left before I'm, you know, kind of in retirement age. So in 13 years, you cannot build up that much in the normal sense of things. I mean, you're not going to save yourself rich in 13 years. You need to get if we want a property, we need to start working all of that out. So one of the things we started looking at into now, because since our PR is about to come through, touch wood, since our PR is about to come through, we are looking at maybe just investing in a smaller place, maybe not in Vancouver, outside of Vancouver, maybe looking at Squamish, or even like Port Alberni on the island, a place where we can buy maybe a 2-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom house for still $300,000-$400,000, which is what it costs. A place that you can rent out or Airbnb at the moment, and then hopefully pay it off, and then you know, when retirement comes, at least we've got a place where we can go stay, where we can go settle down in a less expensive area. We've got to start building up something. So yeah, anyway, that's one of the key concerns at the moment, is how do we start building up and saving up for our old day? How do we build a legacy again? You know, it's not too long before our kids are going to be out of the house. It's within the next, Connor's 16, Angelique's 15, 3-4 years, they both should be at varsity or whatever they're going to be doing, and they'll be moving on their own, and then it's me and Belinda. Um, Another thing, obviously, that, you know, I've always heard that Canada has a world-class education, and I'm pretty confident that it did have a world-class education. I mean, Canadian universities, the qualifications are accepted everywhere. People come from all over the world to study at the Canadian universities. It's definitely a big, you know, it used to be a really good education. But I got to tell you what, I am a little bit, I would guess almost say disappointed in the school system. I mean, it's good schools. I don't know how it is everywhere else in the world, but also bearing in mind that we moved here during COVID or shortly after COVID. And it does seem like COVID has completely destroyed the school systems. You know, I don't know, These in the Canadian schools, for a start. I mean, in West Van, where the kids are, there's almost no discipline. You know, the kids come and go as they please. You get to school 8:30 when they have to be at school, and there's still hundreds of kids, you know, plenty of kids walking up to school, and they arrive late and they kind of leave early. And it's, you know, maybe it's just me, Gen X or Boomer. In school, I used to get lashes if I'm not in time. If you're a minute late, you go to the front of the class and you get knocked 2 on your ass. So, you know, we come from a different time where discipline was a big thing, and I just don't feel like that's the case in the schools anymore. And then, of course, you've got the social media influence, and I can't attest to what it's like in South Africa at the moment, because I mean, we've been out of South Africa for a while, but something that's definitely concerning over here is and at the risk of sounding wrong, but you know, there's a little bit the wokeism that's around. It's just I don't know, there's just, the kids are allowed to do stuff and get away with stuff, and the stuff that kids have to deal with at a younger age these days are kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't always sit well with me, if you know what I'm saying. You know, everybody has got their pronouns, and every kid, you know, every teenager almost is bisexual or this or that, and they all have all of these things that's going on. I mean, I guess it's a different time. Not that, you know, everybody has the right to be who they are. According to me, I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with that, the fact that a lot of it is just very kind of open in the schools. It's very, yeah, I don't know how to say it. It's just, and not get myself in trouble. The reality is that the schools are not as great as I would have thought. You know, lack of discipline. There's definitely not, I don't know how much learning they actually get done. And I think a lot of it is the aftermath of the whole COVID thing, because even still now, they don't do full days like they used to before COVID. There's still 3 full days and 2 half days. There's still a lot of weirdness going on in the schools. So that's definitely a concern. You know, on the one hand, I'm happy that my kids have the freedom to be who they want to be, and to explore what they want to explore, and to live their lives, and to go out and do everything. But on the other hand, I'm also a little bit worried about what they are getting exposed to, which is scary. But then again, I suppose it's not just the schools. I was saying the other day, I just realized that, you know, Connor was born in 2006 and Angelique was born in 2007. They actually don't know a time without these things. They literally grew up with cell phones or with touch screens from, you know, being babies. So I guess for us as parents, it's really hard to understand even what they're going through. I mean, they are the first generation that never knew anything other than a touchscreen cell phone. I mean, it must be freaky. I look at social media, the Snapchat and all of these things, TikTok that they hang out on, and the trends and how everybody gets involved and just kind of rushes down whatever is happening, and it's like, wow. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I was naughty when we were kids. We were all naughty. We all skipped school. We all, you know, were naughty. I was a naughty little bastard, but there was nobody that captured it. And I had a small circle of friends. I mean, I had exposure to the people in my school, which was, I think, at most where there were 60 in our grade, or our standard as it was in South Africa. 60 of us in our grade. So, you know, that was my peer group that I hung around. And then again, you know, there were little groups in there. So a lot of those people I didn't even ever interact with. So throughout my school years, I maybe had like 20 or 30 kids at any year that I interacted with regularly. Now they've got thousands of kids that they interact with. You know, Angelique, she's big on the whole Snapchat thing and the whole social media thing. She's speaking to people from around the world, Florida, everywhere where we've lived, South Africa. I mean, they literally, everything they do is in front of the whole world, which is kind of scary if you ask me. You know, we didn't grow up with that kind of thing, so we don't know what the results of that will be. Anyway, so yeah, that's not a Canada thing, that's just a general dad thing that I'm worried about. Back to Canada and to our living here. I mean, I've said it many times before, we miss family, we miss friends. Those things are hard. Administration, red tape, all of that's hard, but all of it is worth it. I think, like I also said before, you just got to hold on to your why, and our why is to give our kids the opportunity to start off on a better footing than we are and to build their lives in Canada. You know, Canada has got a good spirit, and that's what I like about this place. You know, it's there's lots wrong with it, and there's also politics, and there's also people arguing about it, and there's also the odd violence, and there's also criminals, and there's all these things going on. I mean, you find that everywhere in the world. There's no country anywhere in the world where you won't find that. But I feel like the people of Canada has got a very good spirit. Everybody's trying to be good about it, you know. Well, most people are, and that's it. You know, there's a lot less. People look down at each other a lot less, because I guess also a large part of the community of Canada nowadays are immigrants, people that ran away from shittier places in the world, and they moved here because this is a better place, and they want to keep it a better place, which is, you know, the same as we do. When I walk in the streets and I see rubbish lying around, I pick it up. When I try and do the right thing here always, because I try and help people where I can, because I want to make sure that this place stays as awesome as it was, or as it is, for our kids. And I guess that's kind of a general thing, you know. Yes, not everybody has it, but I feel like there's more of it around. You know, there's more loyalty to the country. Politics is driving me nuts, this whole liberal versus conservative stories. It's just a load of absolute crap. I mean, I don't understand why people are getting so completely polarized by these parties. It's just, but anyway, we're not going to go into politics right now. The idea is not to make a political statement. The idea here is to just kind of tell you guys how I feel about living in Canada and about moving to Canada. And I guess the short answer is, we're still glad, we're still happy we did it. And we're going to make it the best place in the world for us to be. So with that, I'm just going to leave you. All right, folks, have a good one. Cheers.